Ever wondered how to make a perfect sponge cake at home? Well, you're in the right place. Today, we're taking on a classic, creating a mouth-watering sponge cake from scratch. To embark on this baking adventure, we'll need some kitchen staples: fresh eggs, sugar to sweeten the deal, flour for structure, a hint of baking powder for that perfect rise, and a dash of vanilla extract to bring it all together. Now that we've gathered our ingredients, it's time to start baking. Begin by preheating your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius. This is a crucial step in baking a sponge cake. The perfect temperature ensures an even rise and a beautifully golden exterior. While our oven is getting up to heat, let's turn our attention to the cake pan. You'll want to generously grease your pan with butter or a non-stick spray. But we aren't stopping there. After greasing, dust the pan with flour. This creates a barrier between the cake batter and the pan, ensuring that our cake will slide out effortlessly once baked. Make sure to tap out the excess flour so we don't end up with a floury bottom. These preparatory steps might seem mundane, but they play a significant role in achieving that perfect sponge cake. With our oven preheating and our pan ready, we can move on to the batter. To create the perfect sponge cake batter, commence by beating 4 large eggs until they've reached a nice and frothy consistency. This step is vital as it imbues the eggs with a good amount of air, which is the secret behind the light and fluffy texture of a classic sponge cake. Up next, you'll need to gradually introduce 1 cup of sugar. The trick here is to trickle it in slowly while simultaneously continuing to beat the eggs. This tactic ensures that the sugar dissolves entirely into the egg mixture, yielding a smooth and glossy batter. Let's pivot to the dry ingredients now. You'll be using 1 cup of all-purpose flour and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. It's crucial to sift these together to eliminate any lumps and to assure that the baking powder is uniformly mixed into the flour. This will secure an even rise in your sponge cake, resulting in an attractive, consistent appearance. Once you've accomplished this, it's time to delicately fold the dry ingredients into the egg and sugar mix. The operative word here is delicately. You want to avoid overmixing the batter since it can deflate all that wonderful air you've diligently beaten into the eggs. Use a spatula to fold the mixture until it's just combined. Remember that a few lumps aren't a disaster, but a collapsed cake certainly is. And there you have it. Your sponge cake batter is primed and ready for the oven. Now that our batter is ready, it's time for the baking magic to happen. Let's start by preheating the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the perfect temperature for our sponge cake to bake evenly and rise beautifully. While our oven is warming up, let's take a moment to prepare our cake pan. We want to lightly grease the pan and line it with parchment paper. This helps the cake come out easily once it's baked. Once the oven is preheated, it's time to pour our batter into the cake pan. Make sure to spread it evenly so it bakes uniformly. Now, let's slide the pan into the oven and set our timer for 25 minutes. While our cake is baking, it's a good time to clean up and start preparing our cooling rack. Remember, patience is key here. Resist the urge to open the oven door too often, as this can affect the cake's rise and texture. After 25 minutes, check the cake for doneness. Insert a toothpick into the center of the cake. If it comes out clean or with just a few crumbs clinging to it, then our sponge cake is ready. If not, give it a few more minutes. Once baked, remove the cake from the oven and let it cool in the pan for about 10 minutes. Then, gently remove it from the pan to cool completely on the cooling rack. And voila! Your perfect sponge cake is ready to be enjoyed. There you have it, a perfect sponge cake made right at home. Simple, wasn't it? We've walked through the whole process, from gathering our ingredients to preparation, mixing our batter, and finally baking and cooling our sponge cake. The beauty of baking is that it's both an art and a science, and with each attempt, you'll only get better. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more delicious recipes. This has been a production of Wordsmith International Editorial. Happy baking!